Well, you mentioned confidential funds, and I was looking at the Google Trends for confidential funds, and the peak of um, the discussion, if we're looking at the Google Trends, occurred during the last week of September towards the first week of October, and that's exactly when we had our survey conducted from September 28 to October 4. It's a nationwide survey with 1,200 respondents. So the confidential funds topic may have been a factor in the decrease in the numbers of the vice president. And as for the president, we believe that, well, I mean, the questions are asked is, so we don't really ask the respondents what their reasons are. But these are performance ratings, and we see a gap in the performance and the trust ratings. So their trust ratings are higher than their performance ratings. So what that means is that the people continue to trust them, but they're saying, okay, this is what you said you will do. We want you to deliver on your promises. And so far, we're still seeing inflation rates still high and prices of goods still high. And, some we're still seeing access to basic food and goods to be a continued concern. So we believe that they may be factors in the response of the respondents.
Prof. President Marcos declined in single digits, 3% down siya, but that is still a significant decline. Pulse Asia attributed the decline they reported earlier this month to rising price commodities. Yun pa rin ba? Is that still the main concern?
3 percentage points, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and actually, I think it's about maybe 2 to 3%. But yeah, I think it's a concern because, as the president, you promised to deliver something, and the people are holding them to their, promise, or at least to this standard that they want to see prices of goods decrease and to have access to, goods. Of course, the issue is very complicated. It's an international concern. Fuel prices are rising, and that's causing everything to rise. And but we're also seeing, sometimes some products like rice and sugar or onions become inaccessible at times, become very expensive. And I think that this may have been a factor that contributed to these. And these numbers are elastic, by the way. And we can't say that there's a trend of a continued decrease because we believe that if these concerns are addressed by our administration, that their numbers will probably recover at some point. So, kumbaga, just like if you're a student in class, this quarter maybe your grades are not so high, but that doesn't mean that your grades will be lower the next time. You can still recover and still make up for it.
How is it that we're seeing bigger drops for VP Sara Duterte? Does that point to the fact that Filipinos are now judging them separately and not as a unit?
Well, that could be it. They may have been looking at them previously as a unit, especially during the first year of the administration. But now there's sort of a separation that's happening. I mean, this is inference or speculation, but the numbers do show that the decreases are happening disproportionately at this time.
Just taking a look, we don't want to compare their performances because they're very far, but father and daughter and the Duterte brand, we know that to be strong over the past years. Just with your experience doing these surveys during the Duterte administration time and the current vice president, what can you say? I mean, comparing the two.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to make comparisons. It's almost like apples to oranges, Gretchen. But the former President Duterte enjoyed very high performance and trust ratings during his term, except towards the end, and that was affected by the pandemic. I think he enjoyed 90% trust and performance ratings throughout. Now, putting these numbers into context, we can still say that these are still higher numbers. VP Sara is still seeing trust and performance ratings that are about 7 to 8 out of 10 Filipinos so within that range. So it's not low per se. So there's just a decrease in the numbers. But like I said, these numbers are elastic and they may recover at some point. So it may have been a factor or affected by what happened during the past month with what happened with Congress.
Prof, iba naman yung naging storya kay House Speaker Romualdez. He was the one who saw the highest jump among top officials. Dahil ba to dun sa removal ng confidential funds?
Well, it's hard to say per se, but there's another number that we did show, and I'm not sure if I should be talking about it, but when I looked at the trust and performance of the Senate and the Congress, they both increased actually during this period. So maybe the series of events affected not just them, but the upper house and the lower house as well. So, we've been noticing that usually some government institutions rate, the ratings are very highly correlated with the ratings of their respective leaders. So yeah, maybe these have been factors, what happened with Congress over the past month, that may have contributed to their increase in numbers.
We did see also during that time period that the voice of our upper and lower chamber could change, also in the blink of an eye, with
Yes.
public pressure. Meanwhile, may iba naman po tayo, Professor, balikan ko lang natin yung mga pinag-usapan natin in the past years, COVID-19. Kasi may nababalitaan namin, may umiikot daw na bagong flu. Have you been tracking this? Have you been getting, anyone to contact you to do the numbers? Anong balita natin doon? Pulso natin. Tsaka COVID-19 numbers right now.
Yes, Gretchen, hindi naman natin na-miss yung COVID-19 for sure, right? But but we want to stay informed. And actually, we continue to track COVID-19 numbers. We had a very slight uptick the past few months, actually, and positivity rate reached up to 7%. But in context, that's a relatively low positivity rate. It's still above 5%, but it's not as high as it was once. And now we're seeing upticks in different kinds of diseases, not just COVID, but I believe the Department of Health called them ILI, influenza-like illnesses. So yes, we are seeing similar symptoms, I think flu outbreaks. And we heard about schools closing, going back to online classes, and some works being suspended because of these influenza-like illnesses.
Pero wala pa tayong numbers dyan, Professor?
Yung sa influenza-like illnesses, we don't have the hard numbers because we don't record them. We do have the COVID numbers. They're not as high as they once were. They did see an uptick, but now it's downward. Looking at the Google Trends, we don't see a significant increase. There was a slight increase in symptoms that are related to flu. So there was an uptick, but I think we're not seeing, we don't have the same monitoring that we had over the past, in 2021 and 2022. So I think that's sort of gone away. And without the data to analyze, we don't have much to work with.
Kasi wala tayong pang-test nun, all right. In the meantime, maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We have OCTA Research Fellow, Professor Guido David.